Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project and Magnetic Reversal News, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Tuesday, June 30th at midnight, Mountain Time 2020. The snow is going to be falling over the Northwest over the next 24 hours, but by Wednesday, we'll hit Alberta, 16 inches or more. But the big story, another round of Saharan dust is headed for the U.S. Gulf this week. Can you imagine? Keep calm. It's boom time. Holy flash flooding in Holy Macaroni, Massachusetts. Residents share photos of golf ball size hail, lightning strikes, and street flooding from Sunday night storms. That is the norms worldwide. Flash flooding, lightning strikes, golf ball size hail. Now, Massachusetts residents across the state were battered by severe storms Sunday that brought serious street flooding, large flashes of lightning, and flash floodings. Roaring booms of thunder, damaging winds, and massive hail. New Englanders took to social media to share their despair. Like swimwear. There you go. Those are tiny little rocks, unless it's meth. Then that's something. But I digress. Holy maca flash flooding roly. There's more to come. Powerful storm pummels New England, bringing flooding and damage to the region. A region that's been pummeled and damaged by protesters. Powerful storms brought lightning, hail, torrential rain, and strong winds to a wide swath of New England on Sunday, prompting watches and warnings throughout the day for violent rioting protesters and hail. Wear your helmet. After severe thunderstorms moved through the area Sunday afternoon, we transitioned from a high wind threat to flash flooding, and warnings were issued across the region. Damage was widespread and extensive. The National Weather Service in Boston issued a first flash flood emergency since 2014 during Hurricane Arthur, which dropped a half a foot of rain near Fall River. The only other time a flash flood emergency was issued was in 2011. This is unprecedented, or decadal, however you want to look at it. Flash flooding as storms dump on Minnesota, say it ain't soda, or Wisconsin. Ridiculous rainfall totals have washed out roads and took out old people in western Wisconsin. It's true. We're about to get to the sad story now.
Still closed this afternoon after heavy rain caused flash flooding. From New Ulm and Mankato all the way to western Wisconsin, more than a half foot of rain fell in some areas. Near Baldwin, Wisconsin, a man died after officials say he drove his van over a washed out road. First responders found him about 5:15 this morning after getting a number of 911 calls about people trapped on top of their cars near the intersection of Highway 63 and County Road E.
They were unable to get to it immediately. When they did finally get to it, there was a gentleman inside, a 70-year-old gentleman, that they pulled from the vehicle. CPR was administered, life-saving efforts were performed. He was transported.
Yeah, he didn't make it. I know. They just told you that. Anyway, our prayers go out to the elderly gentleman who lost his life by driving into flash flooding waters. So, word to the wise. If you see more than 4 inches of water flowing across a road, don't do it. Isolated flash flooding threat, southwest critical fire risk, and there is still frost and freeze warnings in Nevada. Intense thunderstorms pose a risk for severe wind gusts, hail, and flash flooding in the northern plains. Heavy thunderstorms, rain may produce localized flash flooding. Today, from the mid-Mississippi Valley to the lower Ohio Valley, fire danger will persist over the Four Corners with high winds and fires lit everywhere. Trust me, I couldn't even see Pagosa Peak when I drove into the town today. So there is that. Here's the GFS model. This is the video we started the podcast on, and you can see some mountain snow, probably above 10,000 feet, moving into Idaho, Wyoming, northern Utah. And then the big story will be Alberta, Wednesday, Thursday, with picking up 1.5 feet in the mountains there. So hopefully we'll report on some of that coverage as we move forward. Now, where were we? All this flooding, all this snow, all these activities, all this flooding, all this flooding, all this flooding. Well, here you see the Bartol monitor. the Thule Greenland Neutron Monitor, Bartol Research Institute, University of Delaware, 27-day averages, data through March 2020. And you can see the new cosmic ray maximum. Cosmic rays cause cloud nucleation, which cause record flooding. This is the modern maximum. It's been going on since, let's say, the beginning of 2019, according to the data. So we have that. Fire on Navajo Nation goes from 300 to 3,000 acres in a day. Now, the Navajo Nation has been hard hit with COVID-19 disease, has in fact closed the borders in many regions. I've just driven by there. But now, to add insult to injury, a fire, smoke and blaze sends smoke into southwest Colorado, creating hazy skies. Like I said, guys, I drove to town and couldn't even see the mountains. They look like schmountains. A plume of smoke from the Wood Springs 2 fire hovered on the horizon Monday, northeast Arizona on the Navajo Nation. The blaze started Saturday, had burned more than 3,000 acres Monday. As it rapidly increases, we will continue the coverage. A wildfire in the Navajo Nation has grown to more than 3,000 acres in size, with 0% contained as of Monday, fueled by dry conditions, high winds during the last 2 days. And it's only getting drier. We just did some assessments today, and it is crispy out back. Sightings of a huge fireball were reported in the U.S. across much of the central middle portion of the country. A massive fireball appeared in the skies over several southern U.S. states in the early morning hours of June 19th. Eyewitnesses report seeing a huge streak followed by a bright flash, and then, of all things, a boom. Yes, I said it. If you're a resident of Kansas, Missouri, Texas, Arkansas, or Oklahoma, and happen to be hanging outside in the early morning hours of June 19th, you may have been treated to a truly breathtaking skywatching event, a green plasma discharge before your very lives. A large fireball, a bolide even, appeared in the skies and was visible across several states. Scientists have been pulling together reports from across the region, and now we have some stunning video of the event to feast your eyes on. Now, it is reported that this object exploded, and many of the pieces may have rained down on humans just below the event. Wait for it. T-3. Oh! Boom, boom! That was a nice one. Oh! Boom, boom! Boom! Boom, boom! A boom! A boom, a boom! My God, that hail or rain or whatever, that was... In this case, we can see the fireball streaking across the sky before it abruptly flashes. That's the big boom. And the space rock likely broke up into many smaller pieces and rained down on the heads of citizens in those regions. Helmets, anyone? Seismic update. No quakes of note. All quiet on the global front. Worldwide volcano news update. Klutcheskov just blew its top to 22,000 feet, puffing to 20,000 feet just a few hours earlier. We also have Reventador and Sangay. Well, some are gay, some are not. Ibico, Pashmir, flight level 10,000, Dukono, still puffing, eruptive activity continues, and Osama bin Laden in Honshu, Japan. No relation to Osama bin Laden or Osama bin Laden or Barack Obama Osama or whatever. No relation. But Osama Obama volcano, white plume. That's racist. Oh my God. Why can they publish that after all that's gone on? White plume. What about the dark plume or the brown plume or the yellow plume or the black plume? The plume of doom. Well, a white racist plume is fluctuating. Seismic activity continues over Barack Osama volcano. So that is the update for today. And I apologize if I affected anyone in any negative way. Swine flu strain with human pandemic potential increasingly found in CCP pigs. CCP pigs. This is the China pig flu. The China pig flu 2. Who knew? But swine flu strain is now being reported to have been mixing with other flus. What is happening in China? It's just like the virus melting pit of the world. It's amazing. Now, influenza viruses frequently jump from pigs to humans. Yeah, how frequently is that? But most do but most do not then transmit between humans. So they could jump from a pig to you, but you can't give it to any other people because you're the only one like a pig, apparently. Now, this type of mixing is caused something. It's called something, and I really wish I could find it. I was reading it earlier. I will never find it. Yeah, it's called a reassortment here. When multiple strains of influenza viruses infect the same pig, they can easily swap genes, a process known as reassortment. It sounds like reassignment to me. Anyway, the new study published today in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences focuses on an influenza virus dubbed G4. G-money. And the virus is a unique blend of three lineages. One similar to strains found in European and Asian birds, the H1N1 strain that caused the 2009 pandemic, and the North American H1N1 has genes from avian, human, and pig influenza viruses. If that's not enough to make you vomit, I'll leave you the article. Yes. Where is the swine flu article? It's gone. It's gone, but not forgotten. I will make sure to link that below about the nasal swabs they're putting in pigs before they murder them in China. Bacon is delicious, though, by the way. Cosmic rays may explain life's bias for right-handed DNA. If you don't know about it, all genetic helixes are right-handed. Why they're not left-handed is anyone's guess, because there would be the same effect. Now, this is breaking news. Cosmic rays not only control the climate, they control cloud cover, they control evolution, they control all of life, and they may be responsible for why we're smart, why we have a noggin, why we're thinking, why our genes are passed on more and more advanced in the right-handed fashion. Now, the interesting thing is that the smartest people on the planet, hello, are left-handed, like Diamond. You see, left-handed people tend to be the ones that we remember in history as being very smart. Now, cosmic rays may explain life's bias for right-handed DNA, and it's right here in the paper, the chiral puzzle of life. I may do an entire podcast on this because it's just so fascinating. Biological molecules choose one of two structurally chiral systems, which are related by reflection in a mirror. It is proposed that this choice was made casually by cosmic rays, which are known to play a major role in mutagenesis. Yes. It is shown that magnetically polarized cosmic rays that dominate at ground level today can impose a small but persistent chiral bias in the rate at which they induce structural changes in simple chiral manometers that are the building blocks of the biopolymers. A much larger effect should be present with the helical biopolymers, in particular, those that may have been the progenitors of ribonucleic acid and deoxyribonucleic acid. So that's the progenitors of DNA and RNA are these right-handed helical protein structures that we call DNA. Can you believe this? Whew. It's like we don't know anything because we don't. Hey, have you seen this? This is awesome. It puts the mask on or it gets to phase one again. Stay tuned. We got a lot more to come. After 500,000 deaths, the World Health Organization warns the worst of the coronavirus pandemic is yet to come. That's because their playbook is not played out yet. So stay tuned for more hysteria and more surges and more face masks in your future. Now, Forbes censors award-winning environmentalists' apology over 3 decades of climate nonsense. And so Zero Hedge picked it up and they published it. Now, Forbes has decided to unpublish an article by award-winning climate activist Michael Schellenberger in which he apologizes for the climate nonsense scare that the world has created, including himself, over the last 3 decades. And the guy barely looks, 45? So since he was 15, he's been scaring the world about climate. Sounds like Greta Thunberg. Now, Schellenberger, a progressive, he's still a progressive. He didn't turn over to the dark side or the middle side or any other side. He's not a Trumper or plumper or even a libertarian or a voluntarist like myself, or an anarchist like myself, or someone that doesn't label themselves like Diamond, who's a permaculturalist who just labeled himself like himself. Holy, I am all these things. Now, Schellenberger, a progressive, was named one of Time's heroes of the environment because he was lying about the environment. So what does that tell you about Time? His book, Breakthrough, was heralded by Wired as potentially the best thing to happen to environmentalism since Rachel Carlson's Silent Spring. His book, Apocalypse Never, however, was widely praised as an eye-opening fact-based approach to climate science, and engaging and well-researched. And now that he's apologized for 3 decades of climate alarmism, Forbes has now blocked his article. Now, on behalf of environmentalists, he apologizes for the climate scare. And this is what he says. I would like to formally apologize for the climate scare that we, climate alarmists, global warmists, whatever you want to call them, algorists. Shut up, Al. I told you. I gave you bud cake. Man, he doesn't listen. So, where were we? Yeah. So, this guy is formally apologizing for scaring the public for decades. Climate change is happening, as we all know. If you're scientifically based, like myself, a climatologist, you know climate is always changing. It's cyclic, it's periodic, and it's episodic. And it changes every multi-decadal averages, up and down, the AMO, the PDO, and then larger scale changes, magnetic reversals, solar outbursts, ice ages, which have been explained by a wobble in the Earth, which is impossible. But the Earth does wobble, and that may lead to other effects happen. Anyway, that's a whole different podcast. But let's get back to this guy who is doing the right thing. Humans are not causing the next or 6th mass extinction. Hello? The Amazon is not the lungs of the world. It's like this big on the entire planet. Give me a break. Climate change is not making natural disasters worse. Fires have declined 25% around the world since 2003. Now, these are facts coming out from the largest climate alarmist, global warmist on the planet, one of the top guys. The amount of land we use for meat, humankind's biggest use of land, has declined by an area nearly as large as Alaska. The buildup of wood fuel and more houses near forests, not climate change, explain why there are more dangerous fires in Australia and California. Boom! Carbon emissions are declining in most rich nations and have been declining since the 1970s. Adapting to life below sea level made the Netherlands rich, not poor. So there's that. And we produce 25% more food than we need. And food surpluses will continue to rise because we're getting smarter, not dumber, about growing food. Habitat loss and the direct killing of wild animals are bigger threats to species than humans and climate change. Wood fuel is far worse for people than wildlife, than fossil fuels. Wood fuel is worse for people and wildlife than fossil fuels. Really? I disagree with that one, buddy. There is so much wood where I live, it's a sustainable resource, and we're going to burn, baby, burn. Preventing future pandemics requires more, not less, industrial agriculture. I don't know where that came from. But I do appreciate many of his talking points, the fact that he has manned up and realized that he has been a fearmonger his entire life has set him free. This begins the healing process for this individual. Now, mine began over a decade ago, so I'm well on the way. He's just begun. So let's give him our prayers and our support because the mainstream is attacking him now. Now, mystery unnamed craft seen off Florida may be secret shark spy vessel, or it could be a secret shark scientific vessel taking data. This is just a waste of time from Forbes. Can you believe that? The very sharticle that we're looking at here that's claiming that this is some type of a secret spy vessel, when we can just Google what this is and see that it's simply a scientific instrument taking data in a battery-free environment. These people are charlatans. Forbes is the one that's censoring that guy, the climatologist that came out and he apologized for scaring us all for 3 decades. There you have it. Thanks, Forbes, for exposing how pathetic you are. More evidence that Europa's ocean is habitable. Well, I can't wait till we go there and actual astronauts land on the ice, cut a hole, go in, and they get eaten by this gigantic thing. And we're like, wow, we had no idea. But check it out. Really cool study that's basically using geochemistry to prove that the deep oceans in Europa are probably very similar to our oceans on Earth, which means there's tons of crazy stuff going on here. Tons of crazy life down here. Giant tooth things that are eating all kind of stuff, just like an Ordovician ocean. It's very terrifying if you know the science and you know the fossils. Terrifying. I won't even go into it. That's another podcast. There's so much to talk about. There's a new interactive map on Yellowstone geology, and it is pretty fantastic. Yeah. As if Yellowstone wasn't cool enough, you can now explore the sites of geology and get informed and completely unsubscribe to Mary Greeley and other idiots that have been fear-mongering for almost a decade about nothing happening in this region. That's all. I'll talk about that. Lettuce, cabbage products sold in 30 states is now killing people, making them sick, including Maryland, D.C., recalled over cyclosporia concerns. This is hundreds of thousands of millions of bags of lettuce in 30 states sold by Fresh Express. And that's like every bagged lettuce on the planet. So there are millions of people that have this garbage, and it's going to get them sick. Fresh Express bag salads recalled after more than 200 illnesses reported. This was after 10 illnesses. This will be 2,000 tomorrow and 20,000 after that, and so on and so forth. The salad mixes contain iceberg lettuce, red cabbage, carrot ingredients, and are marked with the letter Z at the beginning of the product code. And there's just a few of them. Please look at the links below to find out the correct information. Those products containing iceberg lettuce, red cabbage, or carrots and displaying the product code Z178 or the lower Z numbers are recalled and will make you poop a lot. Hope you got something out of the video. Grow your own food. There has been contamination of meat all over the country. This is the 5th time in 3 months that lettuces are contaminated. This is a big one. There is no safe food in the corporate-controlled environment that you think you need to go buy food in. Learn how to get off grid. Become independent of the corporate control of your sickness. I haven't been to a doctor in 14 years, except when I shot my foot. Yeah, I had to go. I was bleeding to death. Anyway, bear with me. Most diseases, the majority of the population, 90% of sick people that take medication are inflammatory diseases due to pesticides, environmental toxins, and stuff that they eat that they think is food that has no nutrition. They are getting no vitamins and minerals for long periods of time, for years at a time, and they become just sick people. If you grow your own food, you start small, a few lettuces, kales, greens, microgreens, change your diet habits. You will find that you can reduce almost all of your medication within 2 years. And it's the beginning of freedom. Freedom from the corporate control of your life. Proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance when the food that they sell you in the store is getting people sick. Period. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Share this with like-minded people. Grow your own food. That's all I can say. We love each and every one of you. Thanks to our new Patreons, our one-time donors. The most important person is the person that watches this video to the end and shares it on their social media platform. Do it now. We love you. Be safe. That is a boom.